In 2025, we had some incredible conversations on disruptors. And when I look back, 5 lessons kept showing up over and over again. These aren't theoretical. These are lessons from people actually building businesses, scaling real estate, closing deals, and creating real wealth. If you want to crush 2026, these are the 5 lessons you need to copy. The first lesson came from Pace Morby. Pace is constantly on the road, talking to operators all over the country, and what he's seeing is clear. AI is no longer optional. If you're not using it to save time, automate work, and move faster, you're already falling behind. That episode really hit me because AI isn't about replacing people, it's about giving you leverage. Then we had Cameron Herold, and that episode quickly became one of my all-time favorites. Cameron shared the brutal truth about business that it's way harder than anyone wants to admit. The reason that episode went viral is simple. Every entrepreneur could relate. If you want to build something real, you have to accept the grind, the pressure, and the ups and downs that come with it. After that, Jason Palliser showed us why simplicity is what actually allows you to scale. Jason has 34 different ways to buy real estate, but what impressed me most was how he breaks everything down into simple steps that anyone can follow. That episode reinforced something I deeply believe. Complexity slows you down, clarity creates momentum. Then Ian Ross, my partner in Objection-Proof AI, broke down why sales is still the fastest way to financial freedom, especially when you combine it with AI. Sales gives you control over your income, and AI accelerates your growth faster than ever. That episode made it clear. Mastering sales is still one of the highest leverage skills you can have. And finally, Ferenc Toth reminded us that earning money is not enough. The wealthy think about how to protect it, grow it safely, and make it last for generations. That conversation completely reframed how I think about long-term wealth and security. These 5 lessons define 2025 for me, and if you apply them, they'll help you dominate 2026. Let's start with lesson number 1, because if you miss this, everything else gets harder. Pace Morby says AI is the new leverage. One of the biggest lessons I learned in 2025 came from Pace Morby, and it completely changed how I think about leverage. When Pace came on the show, he made one thing very clear. AI isn't something that's coming in the future, it's already here. The most dangerous place to be right now is doing things manually while everyone else is using AI to move faster, automate work, and scale without adding any more people. We talked about how AI is already handling workflows, marketing, decisions, support, and deal analysis, letting operators do in hours what used to take days. This episode hit home for me because we're already building AI ourselves. As we've worked on Objection-Proof AI, I've seen firsthand how fast things change when you give people leverage. AI doesn't replace effort, it multiplies it. And if you're not learning how to use it right now, someone in your market already is.
And we turn it down, and here we are 5 years later, I'm barely able to sell it for $1 million. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the 300 people that I have in the Philippines that are physically calling are so limited compared to companies like Prop.ai, for example. One of the companies we use, there's a bunch of companies, but the company we use for cold calling is Prop.ai. And I don't have an affiliate code or anything. I don't get paid to like promote it, but Prop will, this is crazy. We have one customer that was spending $12,000 a month with my virtual assistant company, and they were getting an average of 3 leads a day. So that's 36 leads a day for 12 VAs. Mm-hmm. Pretty decent. It's kind of run of the mill. And for those 12, they were spending about $18,000 a month. Okay. $18,000 a month for 36 leads a day times 20. So you're like 700 leads in a month, worth the 18 grand. Yeah, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you spend $1,000 at Prop and you can generate 400 leads in a day.
Yeah.
It books the appointment for you, has the full-on conversation. What's weird about it now is the seller or even the agent, depending on who you're calling, and now Prop will even call private money lenders, which is scary. It will call them and you can listen to the call, and the agent, the seller are both preferring to talk to non-humans for their first introduction call because they can be a lot more honest, right? Because people haven't learned how to be good on the phone like they should with you.
Right.
And so that whole business decimated my cold calling business. Like within the last 18 months, I had a $10 million business. Now it's worth $1 million.
I was talking to someone about this a couple of weeks ago. If there was a way I could short a country, and this sounds terrible,
Philippines.
I would short the Philippines.
One day, all day long. Sadly, I have 300 employees there, and I would also short the Philippines as well, because what's their number one, product is sales and like customer service and
Virtual assistants.
It's a virtual assistant. Not really sales. It's like the warm-up process to give it to a salesperson who's actually trained.
But even the monotonous, redundant tasks.
Yes.
Like that for sure is getting taken by AI.
Yeah, this was interesting, dude. Like recently we go, all right, well, let's reposition all of our virtual assistants to be people's executive assistants, because that's a lot harder to replace with. And now all of a sudden AI agents are coming out, and people just buy one $5,000 AI agent that lives forever. And it does literally every executive assistant task all night, doesn't sleep. And it's a one-time fee for $5,000. I'm like, okay, we're toast. Like that business is toast. It's gone.
Yeah. So what are your plans?
Well, there's just a lot like to think about, right? Like you have kids. What are your kids going to do?
So it's funny. So
what are you going to tell your daughter to do?
So she's right on the other side of that wall.
Right.
Last week was her first day. She first started. Summer job.
Okay.
Right now she's working on all my websites right now with the intention for her to learn how to use AI to do all the websites.
Okay.
The skill I want her to learn is to be excellent with AI.
There you go.
Whatever she wants to do, I don't care what she wants to do. She needs to learn how to do it well with AI. She needs to be on board, learn things from it, right? We don't know what the future holds. All we can do is stay ahead of the curve. Ride the wave, stay ahead, pay attention. There's a quote that I learned from one of my other mentors. I can't remember who he quoted, but it was go as far as you can see and then see further.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm asking her to do. Like just take AI go as far as you can with AI and just keep your head up.
Yeah.
And then you'll be fine. If you don't,
you're toast.
Everyone's passing. If anyone that's not doing it, like we've said this with our tool, if you're not using our tool, in a few months, you're just gonna get passed. Because like to your point about like, your VAs, someone right now paying 4 or 5 cold callers versus what our tool is gonna do, you just pay us a few $100 a month.
Yeah.
And you replaced all your cold callers.
It's not even like, think about this. This is just to add on top of this, guys. Like, let's talk about where this is going. For the people that are not on X, you're not on Twitter, you're not on these places, you're not consuming this content like I am. It is happening at such a grand scale that we can't even imagine until you go and actually watch and see what's happening. So I've been on stage. I was on a Tony Robbins stage recently, and I had a guy stand up and go, you're a fear monger. You're telling da, 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 da. And I go, dude, okay, cool. DM me and I'll give you some proof. This is a couple of quick stories. I'm in the Montana airport. I'm there. I live there in the summer. So I am on floor 1 and I see this floor cleaning robot zooming through, and I walk up to it. I'm like, let me kick the thing and let me just play around with it. And it's like, hello, sir, I'm an AI, da, 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 da. Can you please get out of my way? And it pauses and has a full conversation with me. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then I go up to the second floor and I see another one of these cleaning robots, and I walk up to him like, maybe I kick it in the back. It won't, I'm just messing with it,
Yeah.
And I get up there, I'm like, why is this thing not moving? Oh, it's not moving because this is a man-operated floor cleaning machine, and the human is in the bathroom, which it's parked next to, on a break. I'm like, if that's not telling you exactly what's going to happen with the economy, that one downstairs ain't going on no breaks. Yeah. It's not asking to be unionized. It's not asking for a raise, a bonus, a this. And more importantly, it doesn't need to be onboarded. It doesn't need to get a pep in a step. It doesn't say I got a flat tire, I can't show up to work. It doesn't say any of those things. Yeah, so any of those excuses, if that exists in any of your world, I don't know if you guys saw this, Amazon just deployed 100,000 robots in their warehouses this week.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
This week. Because what happened was you saw this big union thing swelling up on the East Coast with Amazon, and within 6 months, bro, they went and just bought 100,000 robots. They're like, you're toast, bye, see ya.
Yeah.
Okay, so I go to a barista. People go, oh, I want to have a human experience. No, you don't. I think in sales, when you're talking about like, I want to buy a house, I want to sell my house, I think that those are very protected places for a while, at least 10, 15 years.
Well, I don't think it's that long, but anyway.
Okay, I'd love to have that conversation. Baristas, let's look at baristas. Okay, Korea already has 7 Starbucks that have baristas fully automated with robots. It's already happening in Starbucks. What do you think is going to happen in the next 3 years here in America? I go to Starbucks the other day, I go through the line and I order a tall vanilla bean frappuccino. I don't know what's on the thing, but my wife asked me to order it. The person says, would you like whipped cream on there? I go, yeah, hell yeah, I'll have whipped cream. Cool. Next day I come back and I go, oh, I'll make the barista's job a little easier. Tall vanilla bean frappuccino with whipped cream.
Yeah.
The barista comes back, he's like, it already has whipped cream. It's already one of the ingredients. You don't need to tell me that. I'm like, you got any robots I could talk to? You know what I'm saying? Like people, I'm telling you,
you're looking at that. For myself, I can't drink milk. So for myself, every time I get something from Starbucks, I ask for coconut milk.
My wife too. And guess what they do? They mess it up.
It's like you take a sip, it's like, oh, damn it, I got to go back in or throw it out.
I got to go back in and take a dump immediately because I'm gonna blow my brains out because I'm lactose intolerant or whatever it is. Same thing with my wife. If she has a drop of milk, she has a stomach ache for 3 days.
Yeah. And so it's like a robot, I can rely is going to make that right. Human, they get busy, they get overwhelmed, they're overdue for break. I don't know, they didn't sleep last night, whatever it is.
Right. What about
operate 100%?
The other thing is people will argue with me and they'll go, no, people want the human experience. I'm like, bro, people are having less sex. People aren't getting their driver's license. Kids nowadays are not us. They have completely different desires or lack thereof, right? Type of thing. Most kids, not your kid, not my kid.
Yeah.
So I look at the job environment. I go, what is my 1-year-old child, Phil, what is he going to do in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? I know one thing. I know one thing that I've come up with, maybe two, okay? I think people that can actually persuade, the storyteller, somebody who can actually move people, like a person that can move people, so a salesperson, a coach of some sort, like an actual personal development, a leader, right?
Yeah.
You can't replace those people. That's going to be really hard to replace those people. Number two, an owner of real estate. An owner of real estate, and I'll tell you why. When all these people don't have jobs and the government is just flooding money through HUD, Section 8 vouchers and all that kind of stuff, I've got a big project right now, 102 unit. I'm calling it my super, the Super 8 motels.
Yeah.
This is my super Section 8. I bought 100. So I bought a 102 unit motel, and we're converting it into an apartment building, all creative finance, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And Section 8 is coming in and paying for all 102 doors, $1,400 a door, right down in like the worst possible area. If you are not focusing on affordable housing, where the government will literally just pay your bills, I don't know what you're doing. Like I'm in RV parks, mobile home parks, and affordable multifamily is where I'm primarily focusing. And then in single family, I'm mostly selling my single families I've bought since 2016, 15, all the way through. And I'm 1031ing those into single family that are co-living or shared housing, like pad split or what have you. Or I'm rolling into the other three asset classes. I'm staying away from anything luxury. I'm not saying luxury won't exist. I'm saying luxury will exist at a big level. That's just not the game I'm going to play.
Right.
It's going to become the haves and the have-nots. And I think the have-nots are going to be so much more of a surplus of opportunity that that's where I'm attacking. I'm attacking that. So people that are focusing on Airbnb, you're cooked. Like goodbye. Airbnb is out the window, and it has been. You've seen it in the last 2 years. Like most,
it's been a struggle for sure in Scottsdale.
Oh yeah, everybody nationwide. I had 75 Airbnbs in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple of years ago. Then they outlawed it. The Marriott Group comes out and just fries everybody, right? Almost overnight. So I sell a bunch of assets. I reposition them into midterm rentals, and I do a bunch of other things. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to focus on luxury housing. I'm not going to focus on anything that pisses off the hotel industry. They have a lot more money.
Yeah, they do.
I'm going to go focus on affordable housing where government will literally give me grants or give me the things. And so that's where I've been focusing my time. And I look at it and go, and in 5 years, if you right now, watching right now, I think the AI revolution is possibly the greatest thing that could happen to people that have been sitting on the sidelines going, I just need, think about your coaching clients, right? Think about the people I've coached over the last several years. You get people that come to you, why? Not everybody, but let's say 15% of people come to you and they go, Steve, I've been watching your stuff. I know that there's money on the other side of my action, but I really just need the accountability to get over that hump.
Right.
Okay. So I think the AI is the cat in the maze, and I'll tell you what that means. So there was a study being done on rats, and they were going, all right, well, we need to come up with the best rat poison on the planet. So let's change out the food that is on the other side of the maze, and let's time how fast the rats move from the beginning to the end of the maze where the food is. And let's switch out from salami to sardines to this to that. Like, what's the stinkiest thing that we could get those rats to run their ass off to go as fast as they possibly can because they have this compelling future, right? I know there's something in the trap. Well, they had tested hundreds of different foods, variations. Let's put sardines on top of this and let's mix it with tuna. Let's let it rot for 5 days. Like they did all of those things. And they found foods that ultimately turned into the rat poison that we see today. Okay. But what was interesting is one of the scientists, there were 7 scientists on the project. One came in and he goes, hey, you know what? I got an idea. Let's put the scent of a cat in the maze and let's just see what happens to this rat.
Yeah.
And so they put the scent of the rat in the center of the maze. What does it do to the rat? It freezes the rat. It does not move. It will not go. Even though it can smell the food, it freezes the rat.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. Does nothing. Analysis paralysis. Where's the cat? Where's the cat? I know there's a cat. There's a cat. There's a cat. I don't know where the cat is. Oh my gosh. Right? So it's a lot of people trying to get started in sales or real estate or wholesale or fixing it, whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know there's danger out there, so I better not do shit. Right? Okay, well, here's the thing. That same scientist is like, you know what we should do? We should take that cat scent and put it behind the rat and see how fast it runs now. So it knows it's behind it. And that cat scent being pumped in behind the rat made that rat run twice as fast towards the other side of the maze than any food ever did.
Right, of course.
And so there's that old quote that I remember, and I know you do too, is that people are more afraid of loss than they are motivated by gain.
Right.
And so there's the people that are like, I know real estate will change my life. I know sales will change my life. I know these things will change my life, but I'm afraid. Okay, but that's because the cat was in front of you. I'm telling you, with AI, the cat's being put behind you. You are being given a gift. You have 5 freaking years before you are cooked.
Yeah.
And so if this does not push you forward as fast as humanly possible, you're going to be stuck in this maze. You're cooked. The rats are all going to die.
I completely agree with you, except for one thing.
What?
I don't think it's 5 years. I think it's like a year at most.
You think a year?
I think this recession we're going to have is going to be catastrophic.
I think you're right. I'll tell you a couple of things. So
the only reason why I think it'd be longer is just because there's not enough people playing with AI. I think that's the only reason.
It's adoption. Yeah, all day long. Like there's people I hang out with. I just spoke for Brandon Turner in Austin on Monday. And shout out Brandon Turner. Have you had him on the show?
I haven't.
I should get you to get him on the show.
Love to have him on the show.
Awesome dude. So I speak for him in Austin and I'm talking to some people in the hallway and I'm like, do you realize how AI is like going to cook all of us? Bro, they're not even, they would have to know something about it to be in denial. They are so far removed. They're in like 2019 mindset of like, they're still scrolling on Zillow. They're still manually cold calling. They're like writing things down. And these are people in their 30s. These are not 60s and 70-year-old people, right? So I think that you're right. The adoption is actually what's going to prevent people. It's like the human beings are going to stop the adoption. And what's going to happen is the world's going to change around them that they're going to be forced to adopt it, like Circle K. Look at Circle K. You go into Circle K. Do you need to talk to a human to buy some shit?
No, you got the scanner.
I got the scanner. In fact,
the scanner's amazing.
I've tried to trick that son of a thing. I had a donut one day and I stuck a thing of gum under it. And I was like, this stupid robot can't, it caught it. And I'm like, I could have tricked the human. I could have put the gum underneath the donut and I could have gotten some free gum.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to jack gum, but I'm just trying to point out a thing that these robots are better than the humans, and it's slowly integrating into our life.
So we launched Objection-Proof AI.
Yeah.
It hasn't been 2 months. We literally have hundreds of people in there that are going through using AI to review their sales calls automatically, role-playing with the bots. The people that aren't using it,
getting left behind.
They're getting crushed by the people that are working with us.
Right.
I don't know how else to put it. Like, I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant. It's just like, if your worst sales guy is getting better every single day because they're practicing with our role play bots and they're reviewing every single call, you know, like most sales teams, they've got like 1 or maybe 2 good sales guys.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone we're working with, everyone on their team's going to be good.
It's like, there's a story, I won't go into the whole story. There's a story about 2 farmer brothers and they hated each other. They were both gifted the same size of land from their father across the street from each other. And they would continually compete with each other. Like, who's going to wake up earlier? Who's going to produce the most grain? Who's going to make the most money? Like, F you, bro. I should have gotten that piece of land. Your dad should have never, all of that. And they went back and forth. And the only way that they can compete with each other in any sort of meaningful way was, at the time, was wake up earlier, stay out later, right? Get another horse, right? Spend more money on a living, breathing animal.
Yeah.
Then one brother brings home a tractor one day. And he saved up his money. He didn't get it. He spent his money on the tractor, and he was done. Literally, this is what's crazy about this. This is a real story, by the way. He gets done now by noon versus what he couldn't get done by, let's say 8 o'clock every single day. So he just goes to his brother and goes, "You can't compete with me.
Yeah.
So how about you just sell me your farm?" And that's what he did.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at. And so the people that are, spending the money on the tractor, which would be your guys' app or your guys' software, those people 2 months ago, 3 months ago had the same competitive advantage. Now they have a tractor. You're going to gobble up everybody else.
Yeah.
And they have no choice but just go, it's yours, right? I see it all the time right now in the wholesale industry. I see people that are not adopting AI and not adopting efficiencies, and they're bloated. They have way too large of teams, and their payrolls are huge. And it's like, man, for one person on your team, you got to get an extra wholesale deal every single month just to pay for that person, which means that person has got to get 2 deals every single month. Okay, but AI can bring in 3 deals, and it costs me the same amount of money whether it gets 1 deal or 3. Right, and it's $1,000. So you're right. It's an unfair competitive advantage, and the people that are jumping into it and waking up early and staying up late and doing the weekends and like actually researching it are winning. And that's what's I think it's a gift. For the people that are using it as a gift, it's a gift.
Yeah.
For the people that are not, that are, ostrich head in the sand, you're cooked. You're freaking cooked. So I look at the Airbnb people. This was me 3 years ago. I was telling all our friends that are Airbnb people. Some of them were like coaches saying Airbnb is the greatest thing. I'm like, that model is going to be gone. Mm-hmm. AI is coming out. This is when ChatGPT was like not really quite a thing, but I knew about it.
Really?
Yeah. It was like nobody was talking about ChatGPT 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I knew about it. I was on Twitter watching all this stuff happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this real? And so I told him, I go, dude, here's what's going to happen. The economy is going to crash. There's nobody going to be vacationing. Marriott Group is going to come here and gobble all this kind of stuff up. Airbnb is going to be gone. Not like 100% gone, but what's going to happen is the top 10% will rise to the top. The 90% will be so bad for them that they will just have to leave the industry.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. What happened is Airbnb comes in and goes, man, 400,000 people on our platform are not performing properly because they're so overwhelmed with their 9-to-5 job. They're like solo operators. They're not using systems and processes and AI and all this kind of stuff. The experiences are so bad. They took 400,000 houses on the platform 4 months ago. Did you see that?
I did not.
400,000 houses off the platform. The luxury vacation market, all of that kind of stuff, it's going away. And so if you are in real estate or if you're wanting to get into real estate, I would suggest focus on affordable housing. RV parks, mobile home parks, they're not just, they dominate in down markets, they are superior in every possible way. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you do for a living? I go, I rent dirt. And what do you mean? Well, I buy RV parks and mobile home parks on seller finance and sub 2. I then just rent the dirt to people and I make income. Like I have 2 RV parks in Montana. That just those 2 RV parks, I could never worry about money ever again. Mm-hmm. And the majority of the people living in the RV parks are who? You think, oh, they're recreational vehicles, right? They're RVs. No, they're people going, we tried to retire on Social Security. Inflation went up so bad that we cannot live a normal life. So we had to hit the road and live in an RV because we can live in your RV spot for $1,000 a month, utility, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And now we just live here for every single month is $1,000 to live.
I've been hearing more and more about people just living in RVs.
Yeah. I saw it happening 5 years ago when COVID hit. I saw you could not get an RV. I go, oh my gosh, where's the world going?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember because you were trying to buy, you eventually bought it, but what was it?
An Airstream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laura and I 5 years ago in 2020, COVID hits. And I go, oh, kids are out. Let's go see what the RV park world looks like. That's when I started getting into RV parks. Mm-hmm. And so we went to like 40 of them, spent 7 or 8 months on the road. And I was like, this is the wave of the future. It's RV parks, mobile home parks. Now, of course, like Grant Cardone's going after hyper luxury because the rich are going to get richer and they're going to need a place to live. Miami, look what is happening in Miami. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. But everywhere else is getting poorer, right? There's like 7 pockets where people are getting richer, but the majority of them, like Scottsdale was just rated the #1 hub for entrepreneurs, people moving in the United States. So Scottsdale, you look at Paradise Valley, they're selling $30 million, $40 million homes, and big tech people are coming in here because TSMC is coming. It's crazy what's happening. There are people making a lot of money that are leaning in on AI, and then there's the people that aren't.
It's everybody else.
And what are they going to do?
That's what I'm saying. I think this recession is going to be bad in a year.
It's not a recession that we will recover from. It will be a new world. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, let's look at truck drivers, right? You're a Tesla guy. Mm-hmm. Elon has these trucks that are cruising on the roads right now. all truck drivers, in my personal opinion, are gone within 3 to 7 years. And when I say all, I mean 90%, because there's obviously the random one-off route that's hard to get a robot to do or whatever, or they're doing construction sites from Home Depot to here. But the long route truck drivers, 7 million people live in that industry, 7 million. Our current unemployment is like 2 million people. We're going to literally quadruple the unemployment rate just from truck drivers.
Yeah.
What about software engineers? What about, you went to school to be an engineer, right?
I did.
Bye. All engineers.
Yeah.
Right?
Most engineers. That's what I'm seeing is I was talking to somebody and they had their own software development team and they had senior developers and junior developers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was thinking, man, like I could just let go of all the junior developers and just empower the senior developer with all the AI tools, whatever, right?
Mm.
That's what he was thinking.
It was the opposite.
It was the opposite.
Mm.
He only needed one junior developer.
Yeah.
He didn't even need the senior developer anymore with AI in place.
Yeah.
Like if you look at everything I built out, I built it all out with the assistance of AI.
The reality too is like, I was just listening to this morning. Peter Diamandis, awesome podcast, Moonshot.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about AI will amplify the creators, right? And you're a creator. So you went out and created a product. It's like AI doesn't know what the environment needs.
Exactly.
You do.
Yes.
So you have to go out and take the AI, develop it, make it happen, and then implement it into the market and obviously do the marketing, and you're the human spokesperson behind that.
Correct.
So personal brand, ideation, creating, and application. Like where is this thing actually going to be applied is where your tools are best suited. If people don't have that, what are they going to do?
With Cameron Herold, we learned that business is brutally hard, and that's normal. This episode with Cameron Herold might be the most honest conversation we've ever had about business. Cameron didn't sugarcoat anything. He walked us through moments where his companies looked incredibly successful from the outside. Awards, media, massive growth. While behind the scenes, they were close to falling apart. Payroll stress, banks saying no, leading hundreds of people while carrying the pressure you can't show publicly. What really stuck with me was when Cameron explained why entrepreneurs never talk about those moments while they're happening. You still have to lead. You still have to show confidence. That's why so many people think success is easy, because no one posts about the fears. This episode was a reminder that struggle isn't failure. It's part of building anything real. So then what happened after that? What was the next stop?
So after that, I that's when I was clinically redlining. I was burned out. I had a nervous breakdown. I weighed heavier than I do today. I was drinking a lot. I was smoking. I was really unhealthy. And I moved back to Canada. I was getting married. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I met with a bunch of guys in my forum group from EO. And I talked to them about not being sure of what to do. And Brian, who was the founder of what was called the Rubbish Boys at the time, later became 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
There was the Rubbish Boys?
Yeah, it was called the Rubbish. And the term Rubbish Boys didn't make any sense in the US. It made sense in Canada, but no one understood what rubbish was. It's junk.
Yeah, I mean, I think of that as like an English term.
Correct. But Canada was part of the English Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Right? So it made sense for us. I could give you a bunch of Canadian phrases. You have no idea. Chesterfield and Toque and, downspout. You have no idea.
Yeah.
So we're different. So he had to change the name of that company to market into the US. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I sat down with 4 or 5 of the guys in my forum and said, here's my case. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I should do. I don't know what I love. And they said, you should coach entrepreneurs. And I'm like, all I know is barter and house painting. I hate auto body. And Brian said, well, you know how to hire people and you know how to train people. He said, why don't you train franchisors? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't even know any franchisors. And he goes, I'm starting to franchise. You could coach me. And I'm like, you could never franchise junk removal. Like, it's a dumb idea.
Talk about limiting beliefs.
Very, very, very limiting belief. Anyway, long story short, he hired me to coach him and to coach his head of operations at the time, a guy named Jesse Corzan. So I started coaching them and doing some consulting work for them by the hour. Mm-hmm. I was billing them $120 an hour. This was back in 2000. Mm-hmm. And but I was stacking 15-hour days. I was just cranking it because I needed the cash to come through, and I was a workaholic. And then he's like, I can't afford to pay you these crazy hourly wage. I'm like, well, you need to get all this stuff done. He goes, I know. Why don't you come full time? So I joined him full time. Mm-hmm. His head of operations quit because he couldn't do the job. We're still friends. And I then became the chief operating officer of the business. And we went from I was employee number 14. Mm-hmm. When I left 6.5 years later, we had 3,100 employees system wide. We were operating in 330 cities, 13 corporate locations, 4 countries. And I scaled it from 2 million to 106 million.
So it's pretty good. 106 million.
Yeah.
So employee 14, you said?
Yeah.
And it's over 3,000.
3,100 system-wide.
So I imagine you learned a lot while working there.
A little bit.
So
Failed a lot too.
Okay, so let's start there then. Let's talk about some of the biggest failures while you're there.
Not delegating fast enough. It was amazing how that was not something that I had learned yet. I was still pretty radically self-reliant, and I would still try to crank through things and brute force my way through stuff. I was often like a fly trying to bang my head against the window. If I tried harder, I'd get out the window. I learned how to delegate finally at 100 Got Junk, but I think I needed to.
But you already had all these people reporting to you prior to this. You had a lot of relevant
I still
experience.
did too much.
I see.
And I think because we doubled the revenue of our company 6 years in a row. So this was the first true hypergrowth company that I did.
Doubled.
Yeah.
6 years in a row.
Yeah, from 2 million to 106 million.
I think there are a lot of people that would kill for those numbers. To double 6 years in a row.
Yeah, to double once every 3 years is 27% growth a year. You double every 3 years. That's what people would think is good growth. We doubled every year.
Yeah. Okay. So you're
and
banging your head a lot.
It was actually by design, because we went from 2 million to 6 million in year one. And Brian and I were meeting with our lawyer, Andrew Sherman, and he said, "Where do you guys want to be in 5 years?" And I said 100 million, and Brian said 100 million. And we kind of looked at each other and we're like, I don't know where I came up with that number. And he's like, me neither. And Andrew goes, well, that's the number. Okay. So that night we sat down and reverse engineered in rough. We then did it very formally, but we reverse engineered 100 million back to 6 million in the 5 years. And we did it. We got to 106.
Okay.
So it was by plan. Yeah.
I think that a lot of entrepreneurs have plans, hopes and plans. There's still a lot of
different
discipline.
Hopes and plans are different.
Yeah.
So with a plan, you have to have a lot of rigor around focusing on the critical few things versus the important many. You have to really understand your skills and your weaknesses. You have to really understand kind of where to deploy people and cash and time. You have to reverse engineer everything and stick to that. So like a lot of plan your work and work your plan. We used to have at 1-800 Got Junk over our whiteboards a saying up on the wall that said plan, brief, execute, debrief. Learned that from the Air Force. So there was a lot of rigor around our plans and around execution. I think a lot of people have goals. They don't break it down. They don't reverse engineer it. Or they set some that are so big and so lofty that there's no possible way they're going to get there. Right? We definitely had possibility around every goal. We really agonized over making sure it was possible.
Got it.
We even decided like that week or two after that we said that we do the 100 million, we said like, what are we willing to compromise? Will we compromise our core values? No. Would we kill someone to get there? No. Would we steal to get there? No. Will we compromise our health? To a point, not really. No. Right? So there was all these like, we figured out what our boundaries were going to be. And then it was just a series of, okay, well, what do we need to do to get there? One of the things I did is I raised our prices 40%. I'm like, we won't be able to get there. We're not going to be able to be profitable charging what you're charging right now. So I raised, and everyone's like, we're going to go bankrupt. I'm like, you're going bankrupt anyway. So those kinds of things were things that we executed.
What was it? You said plan,
brief, execute, debrief.
All right. Can you dive deep well, at least in the brief?
Sure. Well, so the plan is the leadership or the manager coming up with some kind of a plan that needs to be executed. Then it's sitting down with the people that are going to do the work and briefing them on that work, walking them through it, explaining it, making sure they have the skills, the confidence, and the connections to execute on that plan, right? And then kind of stepping back and coaching them. And then it's the execute, right? So plan, brief, execute, letting them do it. Again, sitting back, observing. And then the debrief is coaching what went well, what didn't go well. So it's stuff that I even cover at my Invest in Your Leaders training. Is like, it's these skills around growing and developing people, around execution, around priority management, time blocking.
So I would say...
And I learned all that at College Pro Painters. Like that's really where I learned to do that. Like there's no way you can build a 9,000 person company from scratch without reverse engineering every single aspect of it.
So I would say that the part I definitely struggle with is the briefing.
Yeah.
So
often entrepreneurs do, because we have it in our mind and we dump it on people's laps.
Yes, here's what I want.
Right.
Go do it.
Right. But they don't understand why, what it looks like, what finish is like, how much time you want them to spend, how little money you want them to spend. There's a skill around delegation that people.
So let's dive deeper into that. So we got this plan, 100 million in 5 years.
Yeah.
How do you brief your company about this?
Okay, so let's say that there is a plan and I need to get something done. I'm going to decide what are all the steps of the things that we need done. How many hours will each of those steps take? Who will do each of those steps on the project plan? Step 1 is going to get done by Kelly. It's going to take 3 hours. Do they have the skill to do it? Do they have the confidence to do it? And then I'm going to use situational leadership to apply the right style on that. Step number 2 is going to be done by Bob. It takes 8 hours. Does he have the skill or the confidence? I'm going to apply situational leadership. So you come up with a plan, who's going to do it, you assess the style, then you coach and develop them. Stuff that, again, comes off so easily for me, but it's stuff that I learned at College Pro Painters. It was the rigor of, it was my real world MBA. I'll give a really good example of this. My first summer at College Pro Painters, they said to me, how much money do you want to make this summer? I said, well, the flyer said 10,000. They said, what would you want to make? I'm like, 15? And they go, do you want to make a goal of 15? I'm like, yeah, let's do 15. They go, do you know how to get there? I'm like, I have no idea. They said, do you want me to show you how much revenue you need to do to end up at 15,000 in profit? I went, sure. So they showed me the math. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 70,000 in revenue. They said, do you know how many houses you need to do? I'm like, I have no idea. They said, well, your average job size in this area is about $748, true number. So you have to do about 90 jobs to end up at $70,000 in revenue. I'm like, then I'm going to do 90 jobs. They go, do you know how many estimates you need to do to land 90 jobs? I'm like, I got no idea. They go, well, the average franchisee lands 50% of the jobs. I'm like, then put me down for 50. They go, what if you miss 50? I'm like, then I'm screwed. Put me down for 45%, but coach me to close 60%. We budgeted on 45. They coached me to get to 60. Well, where are you going to get 180 estimates? I'm like, I got no idea. Here's the marketing you'll do. So we backed it all the way up to all the market. And then every week I knew how much marketing I needed to do to get how many estimates to land the jobs. I maniacally focused around those critical few things. And at the end of the summer, I ended up making $15,000 in profit, doing $69,600 in revenue.
So you have a plan.
Brief, execute, debrief.
It's fascinating.
The debrief is coaching, right? The debrief is consulting. The debrief is cheering them on.
It sounds so simple.
It is.
And it's when you put it this way, I mean, it's kind of how we have goal planning with our salespeople.
Correct.
What do you want to accomplish this year?
Oh, let me give you one on there.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you know that if you have 10 salespeople and you ask them what their goals are, as a company, you'll end up at 87% of the sum of their goals. Okay, so if you've got 10 salespeople and they all have $1 million goal, you're going to end up at, that's 10 million in total, you'll end up at 8.7. I don't know why. It's called the 87% rule.
I haven't heard of that.
The way I was, and it's true. If you go back and look at all your data, you add up your employees' goals for a week, for a month, or whatever, you always end up at 87% of the sum of their goals. The way I was explained to it back in 1986 at College Pro Painters was, you need coverage, you need buffer. If I'm a high jumper and I want to clear 6'6", I got to get most of my body at 6'8", 6'10", so that my butt just grazes the bar. But if I aim to hit 6'6", I'm going to knock it off with my shoulders.
Right. So
you always have to have a little bit more. So you have a budgeted number, and then you have a goal, and then you have a stretch goal. So the budget is what we're going to freaking hit. The goal is what we're going to drive towards. You need your salespeople's goals to be higher than your company's budget, because you're going to end up at 87% of what their goals are.
It's fascinating because I was actually doing a coaching call earlier today, and we're talking about like standards and this and that. And it was the coaching client's a vendor, and then they have their clients are people that buy houses, right? And they were talking about like, you know, the challenges that their clients were having. And then what I was saying is like, well, the problem is they have these standards that just aren't enough, because they're expecting that their clients are they're expecting their salespeople to hit their numbers all the time. I was like, well, that is a lousy expectation.
Correct.
You can't run a business
Correct.
assuming all your salespeople are going to do everything.
Exactly. So that's why you committed 87%. So I took that idea and I figured out at College Pro Painters, they had the goals of all the franchisees stretched to be a bit higher.
Yeah.
So the reason that I came in at $10,000 and they thought, what about 15? He then had coverage because his budget was 10. Right?
He knew what he was doing.
Bingo. And so when I became a general manager and had to go out and recruit, hire, and train, when I sat down with Kimball Musk the first day, I'm like, how much money do you want to make this summer? And he said 15,000. I go, what would your year be like next year if you made 19? He goes, game changing. I go, you want to do 19?
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
But you learn those skills, right? So I think that's what people need to remember is that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, your success is going to be a cumulative, like this accumulation of all the lessons you learn along the way. So go apprentice for some company for 6 months and take a bunch of ideas. Go apprentice for another company, take a bunch of ideas. Just keep learning the ideas.
Yeah. So going back to like your briefing is kind of like we go with our salespeople. Is like, what are your goals? All right, for you to accomplish those goals, how much money do you need to make? All right, to make that much make that much take home. How many do you have to do in sales?
Correct.
And then appointments, or closed sales, contracts, appointments,
Correct.
Conversations, and backwards.
And then you can coach them at every level where the gears are biggest.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the big gears is, are you talking to enough people? Another big gear is, are you saying the right things to the people? Are you learning how to handle objections? Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes we focus on the wrong things. Focus on the biggest gears that like turn the biggest numbers. So I had an opportunity with when my success ratio or my closing ratio, when I was starting to close 60, 65% of everybody I did estimates for, I raised my prices. Because I knew I couldn't really probably go from 65 to 70, but if I charged 20% more, right, that was easier than lending 20% more clients.
Right.
Well, so all that it is plan, brief, execute, debrief. And then on the leadership side is making sure that when you're coaching people, that you're helping remove their obstacles, give them the confidence, give them the connections, give them the skills so they can do more.
Okay, so amazing.
Yeah.
So what were the other big failures at 100 Got Junk? Jason Palliser completely changed how I think about scaling in real estate. Jason shared that he has 34 different ways to buy real estate, which is impressive in its own right. But what stood out most wasn't how many strategies he uses, it was how simple he makes them. Jason breaks everything down into clear steps so people don't get overwhelmed or stuck overthinking. During the episode, Jason talked about how he used to struggle with analysis paralysis. That resonated with me because most people don't fail from lack of information, they fail from confusion. This episode reinforced a key lesson. The best operators win because their systems make action easy.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some culprits, between the ears that usually pop up. Fear, self-doubt, all those things. So what I've done over the years, I'm like, so I teach some non-negotiables when we kick off a training. I'm like, let's just spend a half an hour on some non-negotiables. This is who you are, how you operate before we even talk about getting deals. And what I tell them is simply this. If you can become incredibly good at your workflow and your process, and you can attack a city 34 ways, and just do your job, then the deals happen on the back end. So what I tell them, I go, I'm personally relieving you of worrying about getting a deal. And what I like to do is say, hey, the moment you say, let me run some comps, I want to make sure I'm doing a deal correctly. The moment you do that, I usually smile and we go, hey, good news. I just locked up that contract. Try again tomorrow. Because you overthinking. And so I tell them, if you just get good at the process, which is he or she makes the most offers wins. I go, if you understand that you need to get to the disagreement in price as fast as possible, because that's just a natural flow of creating a relationship. And then if you know multiple different ways to bridge the gap and find common ground and get a contract, which is how contracts end up at the title company, then all of a sudden I'll show you a person that's actually running a predictable business. So what I do is I tell them, you don't have to worry about getting a deal because that's what everybody does. And that's what people getting started do. I don't want you to live in that world. Let's live in a world where no one's going to run my process better than me and no one's going to make more offers than me, knowing that I won't get every offer accepted, but I know 14 different ways to bridge the gap. And like one example, I guess, a good example for everybody that watches this would be if you understand that a seller's, I'm going to use easy numbers. Seller always wants 100 and you're at 80. It's going to happen every time. Most investors will say, I'll follow up with you. If anything changes, could you call me back? I'm interested. That's all they got, right? So if you understand nuances and wrinkles, that it's natural to be different apart on price, but you do little things like, I just appreciate you're not using a realtor to save money. In fact, I don't buy every house. I'll help you market your home for free. All I ask is if anybody you know ever wants to sell easily, quickly, just think of us. And then when they say yes, I will market their property, get 3 or 4 people interested at above what they wanted. So now I'm making money out of thin air on property I don't have under contract yet. So when somebody's getting started, I just simply say, you're so worried about, for lack of a better phrase, and for those of you who know me, I speak in these terms, you're so worried about hammering a seller on why they need to accept your price versus becoming the most valuable to them, which is when they decide to do business with you. If I can just relieve you of that and stop worrying about getting deals and just master the process, then I'll show you somebody that can do this full time, because this doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah. So we've detached emotions from this. Right? Just do the activity. Let's just focus on doing the activity.
Correct.
Everything else will take care of itself.
100%. Yeah. Yep.
So then, which is fantastic. Because I think there is a lot of the burnout, a lot of the fears happens because they're overthinking it.
Oh, yeah.
So then I'll take it one step further.
Why don't we develop a pill that says, take this overthinking pill and you just don't overthink anymore, and I'll show you tons of people that are going to do it full time, right?
I mean, one of the things that we've said before is there are so many people way dumber than you, way more successful than you.
I say the same thing. I'm like, it's not the smartest person in the room. Yeah. It's the person that's going to do their job and not overthink.
Right.
I go, and some of us, there's classic process overthinkers, and they want to make sure they're doing it right, which I applaud. But the person that'll just do exactly what you teach them to do, or I teach them to do, and just follow it, will end up winning.
Those are my favorite people, by the way.
By far.
Yeah.
By far.
So you have also become a master of processes. How did you become a master of processes but not be an overthinker? Because I think there's a lot of overlap between being good at processes and thinking too much.
Yep, 100%. So the way I solved that, because I am a classic, telling on myself, I'm a classic overthinker, folks. And so it's just how I work. And so what I did was I mapped out the process, and I would have a meeting with my team once a month. And it was just a half an hour meeting called Not Good Enough. And so what we would do is we would look at a process like, how can we make it better? And at the risk of failure, we would test things out that we didn't know if it would work or not, just to see if we could streamline the process. And some of it failed, some of it worked. What the byproduct of that was that I told them, I go, effective immediately. None of us overthink. We just throw stuff out there and we'll see if it works or doesn't work, and we'll let the chips fall.
Yeah.
And so what we started doing was tracking things in 120-day increments, all the way down to, with 34 different lead flows. From some of these larger companies, I get paid to track the performance of different. Not all lead flows are created equal, folks. So some are follow up with people for 4 years. Some lead flows come to you and say, make me an offer right now. And so we started tracking all that. And the byproduct of us saying, throw caution to the wind and let's just add 1 or 2 little wrinkles, is that the process became better. Some things failed. We know not to do that for the rest of our careers. Right. So, and then we documented. We built out mind mapping systems before it was sexy or even popular. And we just follow that path every single time. This type of transaction goes down this corridor. This one goes down this corridor. And we still do that today.
Yeah.
Period.
So, we detach emotions, right? Just do the processes.
100.
So then if they go one step further in offending, the processes and not doing it, what do you do then?
So if they don't follow the process, what do we do?
Yeah, hey, you're supposed to do this much activity every single day, right? You paid me for coaching. I showed you the processes. And now it's not hey, I didn't go do these things. You're not even doing the processes now.
Correct.
What's that conversation like?
Mine's pretty straightforward. So even on the front end, I'm like, hey, we're going to put this in place. We're going to do things the right way. So you've asked me a question that in a manner that no one's asked me before. So this will be the first time publicly I say this, besides at training, which happens every single time, is that I tell everybody, I'm like, great news. I've mapped out a perfect investor day that you can get done in 2.5 hours. Doesn't take all day to do. You can get more done in 2.5 hours than most investors can get done in 1 week to 2 weeks. If you don't follow the process and I find out, great news, I'm going to make you famous. And so I tell them all, I'll go Facebook Live and say, hey, follow Charles around. Do the exact opposite of everything he does, and you'll be wildly successful. And everybody's like, well, I guess I better follow the process. But we still have people who fall off the wagon.
Right.
I have a gentleman, Jaime out of Houston. Hey, Jaime.
Famous.
Yeah, making him famous. He likes it. He goes, anytime you can make me famous, do it, because the byproduct was now he's doing it full time. Mm-hmm. So he said, hey, admittedly, I wasn't doing, and this was 18 months later, he came back to me, he goes, hey, I'm going to tell him myself. I haven't been following the process, and I was getting in my own way. I was overthinking it. He goes, would you help me? And I go, absolutely. And so I said, here's what we're going to do. You're going to meet with somebody on our team. We're going to put what a work week looks like. You're going to do it. Expect not to get a deal, but at the end of the week, I just need you to check every box. Mm-hmm. And then week 2, this is what you're going to do. So we did that for a 3-week runway. And I think he got one under contract that actually closed. But the bigger thing for me was that we clearly saw that he was getting his rhythm. Because I was like, hey, if everybody in town, even the biggest player, makes 100 offers in a week, which to a lot of people that watch this, back, if I can make 100 offers without freaking out, that'd be great. I go, well, if we can get you to 150 offers, what do you think is going to happen? Mm-hmm. I go, if you stop worrying about getting a contract, what happens is some will, some won't, who cares?
Right.
And I tell everybody that will listen, you're going to make the most money, and I know you know this, you're going to make the most money on the some won't, which is an initial disagreement of price. Everybody likes some will, where they say, let's do it, and you make money. But you're going to make the most money on the some won't if you create the best relationship with them, because when they're ready, those are some of the most profitable deals you'll do. But if you understand that my process dictates I will make the most money on an initial difference in price, then wouldn't you love to just get to the disagreement on price at that point then?
Right.
Because we know the outcomes when done properly. So just dusted him off. He's been doing it full time now. And, but yeah, so that's what we do. Like, we expect that people are going to still overthink. Like, I remove them from running comps. I go, if we handed you a good deal right now, what's the first thing you do? And I don't say anything, and I button, and invariably, almost every time, somebody will start flying out of their mouth. I run some comps and make sure it's going well. And I'm like, well, if I handed you a good lead and you run comps, somebody else is already creating a relationship with them. Try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You run comps later,
right,
to make yourself feel better. Your process dictates that you always get to the appointment first. And when you teach people that the order you do stuff in truly matters, then you can watch them start to master this process and just realize that this is really just a do my job game.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, they've had pretty good careers.
Yep.
And their mottos were both the same. Do your job.
Yeah. I mean, 3 words. Do your job. Yeah, do your job.
You do the things we know work. The results will take care of themselves.
Correct. Yeah.
So I heard you say perfect day, 2.5 hours. That's more productive than most investors do in a week.
Correct.
What am I doing in that 2.5 hours?
Oof. How long do we have? So we have it documented. So certain things we're like, hey, if we're going to help you attack a city 34 ways when most investors have 1 or 2 lead flows, I already know I already know what that looks like. They lose, you win. But how do we deliberately map out a path to do that? Because when you say that, some people will be like, oof, I wouldn't know where to start. So that's what a perfect investor day looks like. Is so we lay out for everybody. A perfect investor day is centered around what things do we do consistently when we get hired to do 50 properties a month for a company that other investors are not doing, that produce us again and again, contract opportunity, contract opportunity, contract. So in that perfect investor day, what we tell everybody is that you add 1 new lead flow at a time. So there's certain things that we do over and over and over, and then add one new lead flow. As an example, just one example. I tell everybody, no matter how good you are, and I really hope this sinks in, no matter how good you are, somebody can always beat you to a deal. And so then where training and mentorship comes in is if someone, even though you're good and you can beat people to most things, if someone can always beat you to a deal, you can't control that because that's the universe that happens, right? So if you can't control that, we teach control what you can control. I can't control that I can get to everything first, even though it's been my job for a long time. But what I can control is that on the number 3, 4 website in the world, Facebook, and the real estate groups, I can still verify every morning that nothing's there that I might want, or I might know somebody else that wants it. So I can't control if somebody beat me to a deal, but I can control every morning that while my coffee is still brewing, that I've already gone through each group, which is this fast, just like that, because there's 20 posts. You're done in 10 seconds. I'm verifying, and my mindset stuff, right? Stop looking for a deal. I just verified there's nothing today. Because then I did my job properly. I'm every single morning, without fail, we verify if there's nothing today. And what happens, and I tell everybody, in a calendar year, in all these Facebook groups for real estate, there's easily 8 laydown deals. And the zip code you want, price point you want, you didn't even have to negotiate. But if your process doesn't dictate that you go there first every day, then you're never going to get those deals, right? Yeah. So that's just one. We teach people that, again, tracking the 34 different lead flows, driving for dollars is always a top 4, 5, or 6 out of 34 ways that we grab properties. We do little wrinkles that are a little bit different than just the regular skip trace and cold call, right? But we say, hey, get 25 a week. Here's why. Somebody owns a house and it still looks like that. Somebody owns a house that still looks like that, which is a very good lead. And other investors have probably tried to reach out to them. No fruit for their effort. That's why they still own it. And that's why it still looks like that. So by process of elimination, that's a good lead. Plus, if I do 25 a week at the end of a year, I have a list of 1,000 plus on a list that no one else can buy. Because, I mean, we're here in Arizona. I could buy the same vacant list you did. Neither of us have a competitive advantage over each other.
Exactly.
But if I have a list that no one else can buy, and every single one on that list is a house that has something going on or needs work, that's the most valuable list I have.
Right.
And then we do little things that are just 1% different. Again, tracking this for years, we'll add a note to the property on top of just doing the regular. And I'm just giving you an example of our process. We're like, hey, once a week in our perfect investor day, just get 25 houses. It'll take you half an hour, right? But we'll tag the door with a note. By the way, suffocated in the city without a budget costs you 2 cents. Everybody's like, oh, my marketing budget. So we tag the door with a note that says, call me about your neighbor. Call me about your neighbor, Steve, phone number. Because we know that we'll get a 15 to 20% response rate versus folks you drive for dollars, skip trace, text call. Nothing wrong with that. You'll get deals. But we want to elicit them to call us, right? So, hey, call me about your neighbor because it burns a hole in their brain and we'll get a 15 to 20% response rate and we just flip it.
Yeah.
Call them about my neighbor. Oh, we talked to a neighbor a couple streets over about a house. They said that your street might be a good street to talk to a homeowner. I saw your house. Thank you for calling me. Whether you want to sell now or 10 years from now, I would love to give you a standing offer. Thanks again for calling me. I didn't have to skip trace. I know it's the right phone number. Now they know why I wanted to call about the neighbor. We flipped the script on them. We have one gentleman that when I got to that spot where we were teaching, let's do this 1% different and explode our response rate, he stopped class. He goes, hey, I have 11 contracts. I asked Jason one thing to do before I showed up for training. I have 11 contracts. I'm a broker in North Carolina. His name's Chris Collins. And Chris is like, please pay attention. I have 11 contracts. He put it on 20 doors, got one contract. And the other guy goes, yeah, I do need to sell. I have 9 other properties. So he's like, I spent less than $20 and I have 11 contracts. It's just a perfect investor day workflow on stuff that we do consistently. And then we add one of the new 34 lead flows at a time. When that one's running, we do our perfect day and add one more. When that one's running, perfect day, one more. And then you wake up several weeks from now and you have all these lead flows that lead back to your doorstep. The game's over at that point.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I love about this is that there's no thinking required, which prevents overthinking.
Correct.
And also, it's unique, but it's different enough. And how do I put it? you're competing against people that have marketing dollars, right? Like they're
Mhm.
out there, they're doing it, and they're all highly effective, right? But if you're
Yeah.
starting off, these are things that you can check off, and every single one of these that I've heard so far is a revenue generating activity.
Absolutely. And
Every single one.
without a big marketing budget.
Right.
Like, do you have to start your car to dominate Facebook groups on real estate? No. Do you even have to get out of bed? No.
Mhm.
I'm like, how fast can we do this, folks?
Yeah.
Right. And then people start to see, wow, if I have monumental crop coverage over any market I choose, that this doesn't, you can do this without a big marketing budget. Right.
AI is changing how sales works forever. In this episode with Ian Ross, we talked about how sales teams used to grow by adding more people and more managers. But now, AI has stepped in and changed the game. Instead of babysitting your team, AI can act as your sales manager, setting appointments, following up with leads, and making sure nothing falls through the cracks. That matters because the data is clear. Over 70% of your sales are closed during follow-up. And most teams simply don't do it consistently enough. What really stood out to me is how AI creates accountability without emotion. Sales calls get scored, follow-ups actually happen, appointments get set automatically. Managers can see exactly where their people are winning and where they're falling short without any guessing. This episode made one thing obvious. The teams that win in the future won't be the ones working harder. They'll be the ones using AI to execute better. Sales isn't being replaced. Sales is being upgraded.
We've got a role play bot that not only are we making sure that it can adjust depending on the personalities, and we're literally developing this right now. Like, this is being developed as we are recording this. Can it have different personalities based on the disc profile? So high dominant, like medium I kind of thing, but also you can adjust depending on what the industry is, what objection you want to give it, what objection it wants to do, some variation there. But the AI tool will be able to not just role play effectively with a salesperson whenever they want to use it, but will also score that role play. Brad Chandler talked about, how do I know if a salesperson is ready? Like, how do I know if they're actually ready? Well, if you can have them role play with every personality type and every role play is scored, you can see, oh, they got above a certain score with all these personalities and overcame all the objections, they're ready. Like, there can be some variation on performance in terms of, I'm in a role play environment and I'm actually doing the sales call, but it should be relatively minimal in a good role play environment compared to the actually being on the sales call. It's a greater variation if you're role playing the way some companies do, which is just like, here's one line, give me your one canned response. That's demonstrating memorizing rather than actually having the skill.
Yeah.
So as long as you're actually going towards the skill, I just think role play is the most underutilized tool in sales training, because it's the closest you can get to show, don't tell, which is how most salespeople will actually learn the concept anyway.
Yeah.
And it's when they get better. It's like you get better from learning the concept through the role play. I always say all the time, like, I ask if anyone plays sports, they're like, oh yeah, I played whatever, basketball. Okay. If you only time you ever shot free throws was when the game was on the line, would you get better at free throws? Like, no. When you get better at free throws, it's during practice.
Yeah.
Practice drills, that's when you get better. And so the game is easier. Like, I love the Michael Jordan concept. Practice is hard, so the game is easy.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do with a role play bot that can score every call, that can make sure it can give variations of the objection so salespeople can get better when revenue is not on the line for the company.
Yeah. And we have a client right now that's using it. I was talking to him earlier, and he's actually still using it. He's still using our role play bot. So our very first iteration that I created a few weeks ago, they're still using it every morning. Like, that's awesome. But we're going to build a more robust one with multiple different personality types, multiple different situations.
Yeah.
As we feed more data into the system, we can have even a better role play. But one of the things I'm most excited about, there's two things I'm really excited about. One, having to ask a salesperson to role play takes energy, takes a little bit of like, oh, all right, Ian, let's go role play. Having AI just call your salespeople at 8:30 every single morning to role play.
Yeah.
That's the easy button, right? So the vision here is to have it call your people whatever time you set every single morning so that they're ready to go. But the other thing too is we're hiring salespeople right now, right? What we're missing at this exact moment, like I can't wait to have done, is like right now, if you want to work for us, you got to go to, you look at one of our ads, right? You go to disruptorsjobs.com and you fill it out, and then you have to do the PI test, right? We're going to keep harassing you to take the PI test until you take the PI test. Now, instead of taking a whole day out of your schedule, my schedule, Ashley's schedule to interview this person, and then only to watch them fail the role play later on, is we're just going to have a role play with our bot. And when you role play with our bot, it's like, hey, is this person worthy of coming in to take Steve's time, Ian's time, and Ashley's time? Or let's just go ahead and disqualify on the role play before they even come into the office. So I'm super excited about that. And I look at, again, going back to technology, I had not a fax machine, but a fax number my entire career, right? Starting in 2007, I've been using, Ring Central as a fax machine, right? Still have it. I want to say the last time I actually received a fax, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, right? Actually received a fax at my number. It's only because banks like to fax like short sale paperwork. So looking at this, right? Like here's what we're going to be using role play to train our people. I think the people that aren't following along are going to be like the people that are still using fax machines, or there was a lot of people that made a lot of money doing text blasting in 2018, 2019, 2020, and then, and further, but like 18 and 19 was a freaking land grab.
Yeah.
Right. I'm looking at this, the people that aren't keeping up with this development, whether with us or with somebody else, is going to be like those people, like direct mail is back.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time, I was like, I am spending a lot of money on direct mail and no one's answering because everyone else was texting them before they actually picked up your postcard.
Yep.
That's kind of what I'm seeing here. And then there was a situation here. We come back from CG. I'm going crazy with this. We build it out, right? And then we turn on our own internal AI review bot. And we're having lunch at Gus's world famous chicken. World famous. By the way, we're looking for sponsorships, Gus.
For sure, please.
It's the best fried chicken.
Yeah, we've been texting about like this is ruining fried chicken everywhere else for us.
The best fried chicken if you guys are in Phoenix. Anyway, we're having lunch at Gus's, and Ashley pulls out his phone and he's like, hey, our AI bot is up and running right now. I said, yeah, I told you this morning. Like I turned it on. It's reviewing every single call now. And then he looks at it and says, hey, so-and-so is saying these things on the call, right? Because it's calling out what it's not supposed to be doing. And I was thinking like, man, lunch the day of, he caught a mistake. Whereas, maybe we do our role play weekly. Not role play, call review weekly. Might be a week before we catch a mistake. If we do our call reviews monthly, might be a month before we catch that mistake. Or we don't do call reviews at all. Who knows when you catch that mistake?
Sure. I mean, also, is the salesperson submitting the call review? Are you picking it? Like, you're also only reviewing one call. There's the other aspect of the automation of every call. Like, it could have been a month. It could have been a week. It could have been 6 months. We might have not have known until we realized, like, why are we missing money that we should be having coming in based on what we've projected?
Yeah.
The idea of the AI tool having immediate feedback, catching a mistake so we could update our salesperson and be like, hey, reminder, you're not supposed to say that. Like, oh, yeah, that's right. And make adjustment day of. That is a mini version that we accidentally discovered to have a story about now internally that I'm sure we will hear more and more about, because like the idea of managers listening to every call, what calls to listen to, now we insert an accountability to every single aspect whenever someone picks up the phone. It's super powerful to think about.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like, mid-chicken. And I say like, hey, like message her right now.
Yeah.
Like we're not finishing lunch. And I'm generally not like a high urgency person.
No, I know.
Right? But I was like, that is unacceptable. Fix this now, like before lunch is over. And again, like kind of what you're saying, who knows when we're going to do the call reviews? But even let's say we do, like often a lot of businesses, they look at, you know, like conversations, contacts, contracts, and this and that. And it's good, right? But those are more or less lagging indicators. They don't give you the visibility as to what was happening on that conversation. So it could take, they might be doing the numbers, but it might be weeks or months before you know what they're doing on the call. It's harming because they can pick up the phone, they can have conversations, but if they're not quality conversations, what's the point? So, and I think the another component of that as well is that you can't. So we hired Larry Yatch years ago before you joined, right? Navy SEAL. If you guys haven't watched the episode,
It was right before I joined.
yeah, like complete badass, right? Like the guy just loves shooting, right? So I remember he came into our organization and it completely transformed our company. And multiple people quit. Important people quit. And I was like, Larry, like, what's going on? I paid you a lot of money and like people are quitting. And he said, and I don't disagree with him. He's like, well, Steve, when you hired me, you know, things were happening, but you know, there's kind of some shadows here, some shadows there. You can hide over there. Once you hired me, there was sunlight everywhere. There was nowhere safe to hide in your company. Like, actually, that kind of makes sense. Accountability increased.
True accountability.
Increased dramatically. Now that we're reviewing the call on every single call, every call matters. If your guy's hungover on Monday mornings, like we're going to see a trend. Hey, this guy sucks on Mondays. We're going to have a conversation about that. But we can track every single call. And like, let's just say, for example, our average salesperson typically scores 75%. If the guy has 2 days in a row of 55%, wouldn't we want to know now versus again weeks later?
Just looking at the lagging indicators. Yeah.
Right? Like if the guy's, maybe he's had a major fight with his spouse. Maybe there's someone sick in the family, right? Maybe he's got some collections that he doesn't want to talk about. His headspace isn't right.
And also, like, there will be other tools that transcribe. You could always look through the transcription and figure out. Part of what I am so excited about what we are building with this objection-proof AI tool in particular is because of the knowledge and nuance it has around what to look for to determine what actually is a successful call, beyond simply did they get the sale. The problem with most sales tools that are built off of data is that a lot of salespeople get deals in spite of what they did, not because of it. As a result, it will take so much data for AI to effectively sort what should have been said and what shouldn't have been said. And it's hard. So I look at, you submit a transcript to ChatGPT or something, you will see how bad its advice is. And the reason for that is its advice is built not on ChatGPT, but on the data of how other people sell. And so it's defaulting to what I consider suboptimal practices. The ability for AI to not only catch things and have accountability, but then give advice around how to get the prospect to feel more emotionally certain, to give advice on how to take control sooner and more efficiently, at the same time as shedding a light on every single corner and putting a spotlight on every shadow is, in my opinion, one of the most, it's almost impossible to value at scale yet. Because when you actually see this in real companies with big teams, I think we're going to see some pretty profound transformations. It gives real advice on what to do differently and how to explore that, what went wrong. Like, I'll give you a quick example before we move on that just floored me. We had someone on our team who sold, and also our AI tool, everything we roll out, we are using internally. To be clear, there's nothing we roll out that is not being battle tested by our sales team and our process. So we actually use this. We don't make it for novelty. We make it for our use and then provide it to the rest of the world. We had a new salesperson who sold one of a sales training program. And that person ended up canceling.
And requesting a refund.
like after, less than a week, basically. And I looked at that transcript or the call score within the AI scoring tool, and it had a pretty profound insight, which is it realized that our new salesperson had done an old habit of selling from his enthusiasm rather than the conviction of the prospect, because he didn't strategically hesitate and pull back and pull away to get them over the line. Excuse me. So that meant the AI realized there was a risk of cancellation. Like, it was not shocked. I basically asked the AI tool, would you be shocked to know that this lead canceled? Like, oh, no, not shocked at all. Like, it made perfect sense to the AI that lead would cancel based on how they were sold.
Right.
Like, that is a pretty profound difference from just reading a transcript.
Right. Well, this is what you trained for over the last 2 years.
Yes.
Where it recognized, like, hey, there was too much enthusiasm on the salesperson's part that we risk losing a sale from when this person changes their mind because they were buying from the salesperson's enthusiasm versus their own conviction.
This is the nuance of what I've been teaching it for 2 years.
Yeah, right? Getting the prospect to sell themselves versus you selling the prospect.
Right.
Right? We don't convince, we get clients to sell themselves. Ferenc Toth reminded me that making money is only half the equation. In this episode, Ferenc shared how wealthy people think differently once they accumulate capital. We talked about the strategies like property structured life insurance that allow money to grow in good markets while staying protected in bad ones so that wealth isn't wiped out when things turn. How Ferenc explained this in a way that wasn't just for the ultra wealthy. He showed how people can start thinking about protection early, even without massive capital. The core lesson was simple. Real wealth isn't just about how much you make, it's about how long it lasts.
The owner and the manager of the station said, we heard your interview. How long have you been on the radio? I said, this is my first ever. No way. I said, well, I've been speaking. Oh, okay, shows. How would you like a radio show yourself?
Yeah.
Huh? They had a guy retiring, that kind of thing. Said, we love your content. It's unique. It's different. They've been there 30 years. In fact, that's where Robert Kiyosaki got started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The
Really?
same guy, the owner of the many radios who still owns it. He told the story. A guy walks in the book with this nobody had heard of in the late 80s called Rich Dad, Poor Dad and wanted to promote it. Yeah. That's where he started.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, I've gotten a chance to meet him. He still does stuff there occasionally. Anyway, started doing this radio show. At first, I was hesitant. I was like, where am I going to find the time? Talking to my wife, and it's like, because I'm traveling, I'm speaking, I've got clients, I got a family. She goes, it's a whole new audience. So I said, okay. A year and a half later, COVID hit. All the speaking stuff disappeared.
Right.
I'm on the radio now. And I'm thinking, that was a bit of a shock to the system, to our business, because I understand I'm in the financial world about 20 years at that point. Every single client I've ever met, I'd actually met in person, or at least at a workshop, before they became a client.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how am I going to obtain clients without ever actually physically meeting them? The radio came in. People started calling, and the radio numbers just jumped. A lot of people started listening to the radio more. They're at home. Right. And then other stations, they added a second hour. They said at that time I was their second most popular show.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. And I was at one of the newer shows, right? And so then other stations started reaching out to me. Hey, would you consider us on we heard your show, love the content. It's unique, it's different. And so now we're on over 20 radio stations nationwide. I'm 20 of the 30 largest markets in the United States.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Probably getting a little more business from that than
Yes.
flying.
Yeah. And I don't travel so much.
Yeah.
That part's fun.
So you were saying they asked you to go up to Seattle because she thinks it's more important for her investor group to talk to you versus self-directed IRA.
Right. Because there's some limitations with self-directed IRAs.
So let's talk about...
I'm going to step on some... You want me to step on some toes?
Yeah, let's swing some baseball bats around.
All right. Well, as we all know, there's some limitations with self-directed IRAs. One of them is, the prohibited transactions. I'm sure you've gone into all that kind of stuff.
Very annoying.
Yeah. There are more fees, plain and simple. As I tell people, if you're going to do a self-directed IRA, you have to actively use it. I have a lot of people I see that have them and they kind of sit on them and they're just paying a whole bunch of extra fees for no reason, right? And then regardless of what you do, unless it's a Roth, you're ultimately, what are you doing? You're going to pay the tax eventually.
Yeah.
You're doing what the government does. You're kicking the can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things about taxes, I'm not saying to avoid taxes. I'm saying to limit them and do it strategically.
Yeah.
All right. Forget the politics. Right now, we are in the third lowest tax bracket in the history of the income tax. Coolidge was the lowest bracket. Reagan first term was second. And the Trump, since 2018 Trump, is the third lowest tax bracket in history.
Mm-hmm.
When do you want to pay taxes? When they're low or they're high?
When they're low.
Why are you deferring them when they're low?
Mm-hmm.
To then later pay them at a potentially higher level at an certainly unknown future rate. And yes, we're fans of Doge and all that, but what if all that doesn't work out as well as we hope?
Mm-hmm.
Well, are taxes potentially going to be higher in the future with increased debt?
I think there's only one direction it can go.
I don't think it's going down.
No.
To be fair. So my point is, why are you paying tax? Why are you kicking the can down the road to a potentially higher or worse tax situation you have now? Why not pay the tax now strategically when it's low, but let it grow tax-free for life?
Mm-hmm.
Why Roths are so famous
Yeah.
or so
Popular.
Popular. Thank you. So there's no positive arbitrage with self-directed IRAs.
Yeah. And there's a limit to how much you can put in there.
And limits on how much you can put in. There's limits on what you take out.
Mm-hmm.
There's required minimum distributions. And Congress changes these rules all the time, right? I mean, I do this full time and I have a hard time keeping track of the rule changes year to year.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I can tell you just about every single client I know who is 72 plus now, who built a sizable IRA, traditional IRA, they are very unhappy campers.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting creamed on taxes.
Yeah.
Because now their Social Security is getting taxed higher rates.
Mm-hmm.
If they were receiving pension or other investment income, guess what? Because of the required distributions, they're getting hit higher tax brackets there. In fact, studies show the argument is you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire.
Mm-hmm.
85% of the time, do you know that's not true? That's the stats.
Yeah.
The stats, Wall Street's run these over and over again. 85% of Americans, when they retire, are in the same tax bracket or higher in retirement than when working. Because guess what, folks? Social Security benefits are taxable,
Mm-hmm. And that's
among other things.
Relatively newer deal, right? I think that's like the last 30, 40 years.
1980s, that was Clinton administration.
Yeah. And then we're talking about insurance policies. Now, there's a very popular radio guy. I think he's got a bigger name than you.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey.
And he does not like insurance policies. And anytime someone talks about insurance policies,
he goes off.
He flies off a handle.
He does. Now, that should tell you something. He's responding emotionally, isn't he?
Yes.
So when somebody is being emotional, are they being logical?
No.
I've read his books, I've read his stuff. If you read the story, his mom got screwed over by a bad insurance investment. By the way, I would never have recommended that for his mom, the particular investment. So he has colored a paintbrush. The entire industry is bad because his mom had a bad experience with a bad product. It was a bad fit. In other words, she wanted to cut wood and somebody sold her a hammer.
Yeah.
All right. One of my pet peeves, and I've done this forever, there's no such thing as a bad financial tool. There are bad fits.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I see that all the time.
Yeah.
They all have a purpose. Like I'll hear this all the time. People say, I hate annuities. Okay. Let me ask you a question. You have a recent widow who her husband had a pension. She counted on that pension. She now has a chunk of money she can invest in an annuity that'll create a private pension for her. And that's her comfort zone. Oh, well, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Even people who hate annuities say that to me.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Right. In other words, there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
There's a fit. My point is simple. If a financial person or any stripe says, I love this unconditionally, or hate that unconditionally, that's not financial advice.
Mm-hmm.
Probably doesn't apply to you, and they're responding to some emotional reaction they have. And as one of my biggest pet peeves with agents, advisors is, dude, gal, it ain't about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the client.
Right.
It's about them. Listen to what they want. What do they need?
Mm-hmm.
What are their goals? And now let's find the tool, the hammer, the saw, whatever, that'll fit them. So sometimes annuities make sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes life insurance makes sense. By the way, you can buy life insurance Life insurance will do a lot. There's 5 different kinds of life insurance. There's 5 different kinds of annuities. That's another thing. If you won the lottery, would you be upset?
Of course not.
That's an annuity. If you have a pension from the government, is that a bad thing?
No, not at all.
That's an annuity.
Yeah.
Okay. My point is, there's 5 different kinds of annuities. Don't paint it all under the same brush.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Dave's got 2 really, really passionate things that he's really wrong about. That one and then the debt. Obstacle I hear from newer wholesalers is finding buyers for their deals. Because unless you've built a massive buyers list or have a huge dispo team, you might struggle to move your deals. So when we started working with InvestorLive, we've been able to reach new buyers and sell deals faster at higher prices. We can see buyers in our area, their contact information, and with the new AI capabilities, connect with the buyers most interested in our deals based on the algorithms. We can also see who's clicked on our deals, how many pictures they clicked on, and how long they spent looking at it, and finally, what actions they took after engaging with our deals. We are now connected with thousands of buyers in our markets, and we now know exactly where we are with each deal and what next steps to take. If this sounds like something that would resolve or help your dispo process, I highly encourage you, go to the website, put in Disruptors for 10% off so you can focus on locking up deals and less time worried, stressed, and frustrated about finding buyers.
Well, here's where I agree with him. In general, do you want to be out of debt? Absolutely.
Generally.
Yeah, generally speaking, debt-free. I mean, that's a good thing. But I do a whole thing in my workshops where I talk about the difference between strategic debt versus consumer debt. Here's a bit. If you have to go to work, Steve, to pay the bill, I don't care if it's a business, you're an employee, doesn't matter, but you got to go to work. So you're a doctor or you're a ditch digger. Well, that's the kind of debt you want to get rid of.
Exactly.
Because if you can't go to work, you can't pay that bill, you got problems. But can you buy a rental property? Long-term buy and hold, take a mortgage against it.
Yeah.
And as long as your cash flow, your income is greater than your expenses, can you build wealth? Of course.
Yeah.
So I get these Dave Ramsey aficionados.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the other thing where he's...
Yes, I say
wrong.
that to them. So I say what I just shared with you right there. They're like, well, yeah, you can do that. Well, then is all debt bad? No.
Right.
Stop painting things in broad brushes and saying, this is bad, this is good. No, it depends on the situation. The answer is, it depends.
Yeah. And I think that's what every accountant says is,
Yeah.
Hey, what do I do about this? Well, it depends.
It depends. And really what they're trying to say to you is, well, what are your goals?
Right.
What's your fact pattern? Term we like to use in our industry. What's the fact pattern? What's going on? What's your goals? What are your dreams? What are you trying to accomplish? Where are you at? Let's try to find. And sometimes I'll say to people who, they hear me on the personal bank show and they'll contact me. They're all excited about it and they want to do. They've been listening for months, sometimes years even. And their financial position and situation is not right now for them. Like they got a lot of debt, this and that. I say, well, here's what you need to do first. You're not ready yet. We'll get you there. You should do this or that first. Oh, and they get disappointed. I'm like, well, do you want me to tell you what you need to know or what you want to hear or what you need to hear? I'll get you there. You're not ready.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then you're speaking on...
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
So John Burley, probably many of you on this show are
Been
familiar
here a
with.
couple times.
Yeah. I was on. We become good friends. We were on a bank board together. Got to know John quite well, and he's been on my radio show a number of times too. And I've been through. I'm a Black Card member too. I've been through his training. He reached out to me about a year ago about doing a joint event together. I was honored by that. So we are doing January 18th, 2025. We're doing a Master Your Money. First time ever, the two of us. He's going to be speaking about 7 money secrets for the rich. Obviously, all about real estate. Okay. I'll be talking about the personal bank, how you tie the two together to enhance your real estate investing. We're going to kind of tag team and then end up the day with a Q&A. So 9 to 5, go to yourpersonalbank.com to register. I would recommend doing it soon. We got a few more free seats available. And then after that, there's going to be a cost.
Yeah. So yourpersonalbank.com.
Yes.
And then if someone wanted to find you on the radio, where is that at?
Well, it's the best place is just, again, go to my app, Your Personal Bank app, or the yourpersonalbank.com website. You can go listen. You can listen to the current or any of the previously recorded shows anytime you want. Of course, it's on Spotify and everywhere else you can find. Just Your Personal Bank. And then, yes, we're on 20 stations around the country, terrestrial radio stations around the country, but it's on different times, different locations, and you may or may not be in that space.
The Spotify's easiest.
Spotify, or the website or the app.
Yeah. And then if someone wanted to reach out and do to work with you, what's the best way to do that?
Again, yourpersonalbank.com. And as I say on there, yes, you'll reach me, not an assistant. I had 45 people working for me at one time. And over the years, I've learned how to streamline things and specialize. And I just enjoy talking to people directly.
All right. Simple enough.
Yeah.
Before we end up here, what are some last thoughts you want to leave all the listeners with?
I think one of the biggest things is if you haven't realized it yet, everything has changed economically. We're in a different environment. Last decade was the decade that was known as easy monetary policy, low interest rates, the stock markets and real estate markets, crypto, you name it, just took off. We are now in the midst of one of the biggest bubbles in history. Take any measurement you want to take. We are at extreme levels on all of that stuff. Okay, that is a fact. Now, will it continue going up like that? No. Will we have a correction? Yes. What no one can tell you is how much, how long, or when. But there will be a correction.
Yeah.
I can share that with basically absolute certainty.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the 1950s tulip bulb. You know, there was a time in Holland that tulip bulbs were more expensive than a house.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not new. All right. Now, the message I'm trying to have share people with is there's not a reason to be scared, though. Again, it's not new. This has happened before, and it's going to happen again. What do you do when you get a .com burst or an 08-09 correction in the real estate and stock markets, which some are predicting? The numbers are certainly there could potentially support that. I'm not predicting it. I'm saying it could be. We could have a very severe correction. What do? You diversify. You protect yourself. You start, if you've got assets that are investments that are subject to risk, dial it back. Start peeling some off. If you've had winnings, let's say you've taken advantage of this great run up in the stock, real estate markets, whatever, crypto, whatever. Does it make sense to take some off the table? I mean, what do successful, wise investors do? Look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has sold more stock in his career, both percentage and dollar-wise, over this past year than at any point in his 60-plus year career. That's a pretty smart dude to listen to and follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Last quarter, he didn't buy a single dime of stock. I don't think he's ever done that in his career. Warren Buffett's actions are telling us what's going to happen. By the way, he did the same thing before 08, 09. He did in 07. He also did it in 2000. Go back in charts and look what happened. 45, 55% drop top to bottom in the markets, stock markets, both of those times. Real estate, a lot of it suffered there. Real estate's going to have a correction.
Yeah, he's pretty good at what's the word? The fundamentals.
Yes.
Paying attention.
Pay attention to the fundamentals.
Core fundamentals.
Right. Am I saying get out? No. I said take the winnings off the table, didn't I? Understand, get into the fixed asset market. It is the golden age. Get into the stuff that more in the bonds, as we talked about earlier. High cash value policies. By the way, it's the best time to buy an annuity in over 42 years because of the higher bond interest rates. They're now paying double and triple what they were just a couple of years ago. If you want guaranteed lifetime income, if somebody says, I want a pension check, those are now paying companies are paying a 30% bonus up front for that. So if you put in $100,000 in one of those, and they'll give you an 8% increase guaranteed per year. So if you put in $100,000, a year later, you would have $140,000 available for a long guaranteed income or pension check for the rest of your life.
Wow. As I look back at 2025, these 5 lessons show up again and again. Use leverage. Accept the grind. Keep things simple. Master sales, protect your wealth. None of these are shortcuts. They're principles. And the people who win aren't the ones who hear them. They're the ones who actually apply them. If you take even one of these lessons and act on it going into 2026, you'll already be ahead of most people. And if you commit to all 5, you give yourself a real shot at building something that lasts. So rewatch the parts that hit you, take notes, and decide what you're going to do differently this year, because 2026 will reward the people who move, not the ones who wait. So comment down your favorite lessons, how you plan to take action, and I'd love to read them and crush 2026 together with all of you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 2026.
Shout out to Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. Disruptors.